Hi friends, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Caitlin and I like to film eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos, as well as the occasional other eyeshadow palette, typically, but sometimes other content sprinkled in. So if any of those things are of interest to you, meaning makeup, eyeshadow, ranking videos, then I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button because I post 2 videos a week, although I haven't been super consistent since my vacation, but I will get back on track. And for those of you that are not new here, my face is happy that you are seeing it again. And finally, we are doing the follow-up, the bracket style palette ranking of my Nomad Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. So if this is your first time to my channel, what I do is I rank all of my palettes. What I've done so far is just ranking all of my palettes for a specific brand, and then I do a look with each palette, and then we do the palette battle via bracket style ranking and compare the looks, and then we see who the winner is, which palette won, but really which look using the palette won. So I will share pictures of each look on the screen as we go through, but if you want to see the looks in action closer up, I should have a short with each palette, and I will make sure to link each short in the description box down below. And then if I have dedicated videos with any of the palettes, I'll link that as well if you're looking for other inspiration with the palettes. That being said, let me go ahead and put the bracket up here. I may have to make a new one because the one that I have that I can see right now, it cut off the bottom one. But if it looks like the bottom thing is cut off, I did not make a new one, and that very bottom one is the Paradise Islands palette. So just as a quick recap, our ranking had the Orient Express palette in 10th place, the Whistler Snow Lodge palette in 9th, America's Parks in 8th, Monteverde Cloud Forest in 7, 6 was Paradise Islands, 5 was Haunted Europe, 4 was Hudson Valley, 3 was Iceland Fire and Ice, 2 was the Verona Amore y Morte palette, and 1 was Fête de Provence. So that was the 10 spots. So I picked a ranking that sort of was a little bit different, I feel like, instead of going like best palette, worst palette, and like narrowing it down there. Our first and second palette, like our top 2 palettes, get a break from like the first round. Basically, they get like what am I trying to say? You see it. You see what I'm talking about on there. Okay, anyways, let's just get into it. Let's look at the looks. So we'll start off with the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette, and when I do these initial, I always like to show what the inside of the palette looks like in case you've never seen it. This is what the palette looks like for Monteverde Cloud Forest, and then this is what the Orient Express palette looks like. There we go. Okay, so now looking at the looks. So the Monteverde Cloud Forest look, I do like that look. I do believe I used a couple of like single shadow toppers, loose pigments for that look, so it did have some assistance. And then on the Orient Express palette, I used a lot to help out this palette. I used like gel liner, I used chrome flakes, I think I used a single shadow like loose pigment topper, so I do let myself use other things in my collection, but the majority of the look, or the base of the look, does have to be the palette. So looking at these looks, this is really hard because while this look is a little bit, the Orient Express look is a little bit more neutrally, I kind of love how the Cloud Forest look looks because it's bright and colorful. I think we're gonna go Cloud Forest will win this round. Final answer. So Orient Express has been eliminated, and actually after doing this whole exercise, I decided I would be decluttering this palette from my collection. I just don't find that I reach for it beyond doing stuff like this, and I'm trying to get out of the collector's mindset. So I am going to be decluttering this, and I held on to it just to do this video. Next up is the America's Parks palette in the number 8 spot. This is what the palette looks like. And then we have the Whistler Snow Lodge palette in the number 9 spot. Now this is a lot of people's favorite Nomad palette. It's not mine. I really don't jive with this color story. I love the mints, and the blues are pretty. I don't reach for blue eyeshadow a ton. Really, when I use this palette, all I reach for is these minty shades, and I just have a lot of mints. So like this palette, I just don't grab for it as much. But anyways, and I struggle to create looks that I like. But on that note, I did create a look that I really liked with this palette, but I added, you may be able to notice that there's like a lilac-y purple. I used a Lethal Cosmetics gel liner or cream liner, whatever. I used that as a base to get that purple. I put a Danessa Meyer, or maybe it was Bella Beauty Bar, but I put some chrome flakes over the top. So really, I added colors to this palette to make this one work for me. I do think this look is really pretty though. I did really like how it turned out. And then with the America's Parks look, we did this all yellow number. Oh man, I really like how this one turned out. I know it's like somewhat neutral, but it's kind of like a pretty neutral with the yellows. But is it boring compared to the other one? But do we also like it in like its simplicity? Oh, I think, and it might be because I put the dark lip with it, but I think I'm gonna have the America's Parks look move on. I'm sort of surprised by that, but I just really like how this look turned out. I like that it's neutral, but has like a grunginess to it. So I really like that. So America's Parks is gonna win. And I also decided to declutter this palette after doing this exercise because I realized like even adding in other stuff, it's just like not a palette that brings me joy to play with. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, if you like this color story, the quality on this is great. This mint shade was one of my favorite mints, but I have so many eyeshadow palettes that I don't need to keep one just for one shade. And I think this will get more use in a different home, so. Okay, next up we have in the number 6 spot, the Nomad Cosmetics Paradise Islands palette. This is what the palette looks like, super fun, especially for the warmer weather that's happening right now. And then the Nomad Iceland Fire and Ice palette. This is what this palette looks like. This was in the number 3 spot. So starting with the Paradise Islands look, I was inspired by Michael Brooks. I think his name on Instagram is the Brooks Brother. I will try to remember to link it in the description box. But if you go to my description box to find it and don't see it, please feel free to leave me a comment and I'll make sure to add it. But I was inspired by a look that he did and I recreated that look using this palette, also using my Made by Mitchell color case to like kind of brighten up the base, but I really, really like how this look came out. And then the Iceland Fire and Ice look, I love this look too. Oh my gosh. I wanted to add that pop of orange just to like make this look a little bit more colorful, but I also really loved the like hint of additional sparkle I got from the chrome flakes I added, both like right up against the orange and then on the lid as well. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Paradise Islands. So first upset of this challenge, but I just think like, sorry, I'm opening it again, I don't know why, but I just think this look is really pretty and I really like it a lot. Next up, we have the Haunted Europe palette in the number 5 spot. I adore this palette. I really think it's super pretty. And then I have the Hudson Valley palette in the number 4 spot, which I also love this palette. I think it's gorgeous. So taking a look at the two looks, starting with the Haunted Europe palette, we have kind of this like dusty mauve crease with the green, like minty green lid. And this is also why I felt like I could get rid of the Whistler Snow Lodge. This green shimmer is kind of similar to the other one. This one's a little bit more green than mint, but anyways. So that was that look. Here's the Hudson Valley look. I went for it. If you know me, you know I don't like red eyeshadow, but I went for it with the warm crease on this one. And then I did use, I think it was one of my Danessa Myricks, what are her color fixes. There's one that she has, I think it's called Jewels, and it's like a green pink sort of duochrome. And I really love how that paired with this warm crease. I am gonna give it to the Haunted Europe palette just because that color story, I think, of that look suits me a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you were hoping that I would not fall into my same pattern, but red is just not my favorite color of looks on me. So anyways. Okay, so now we have some palettes that are getting their second round action. So we have the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette, which we already saw, going up against the Nomad Cosmetics, I don't know why I keep saying Nomad, but the Verona Amore y Morte, or the Love and Death palette. This is what this palette looks like. So let's take a look at the looks. Just a reminder, this is what the Monteverde Cloud Forest look looked like. And then here is the Verona Amore y Morte look. I did use my singles from the Make Your Own Magic palette from Bella Beauty Bar. Those are the shimmers on the lid, but the inner corner and mattes are all this palette, so or the Love and Death palette. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it to this look. I'm sorry, but those, I know the shimmers aren't from this palette, but this look overall I just really like, and yeah, so that one's gonna win. Next up we have America's Parks coming up again. We already saw this one, but it's going up against the #1 palette, which was the Fête de Provence palette. This is what the inside of this palette looks like. And just a reminder, this is what the America's Parks look was. That beautiful kind of grungy neutral, mostly yellow look, but leans kind of neutral. And then here is what the Fête de Provence looked like. I did like 3 like kind of teardrop gems, and then I kept it as like a soft matte, because like a soft matte looks, because I wanted the sparkle to just be the gems. But this palette is, or this look is all this palette beyond the gems. The look with the America's Parks palette is actually all that palette too. I don't think I added anything to that. This is hard. I think I'm gonna go with the Fête de Provence look, only because it's like fun, very like youthful, festival-y, and I just think that I want to push that forward. So we're gonna give this round to that one. Moving on into the next round, we have the Paradise Islands palette, which was the #6 ranked palette, and the Love and Death palette, which was the #2 ranked palette. So putting the looks up again on the screen just as a reminder. So Paradise Islands was the really colorful look. And then the Verona one was the one with the blue, really, really pretty blue shimmers, which were not in this palette, but I did use them for the look. I'm gonna have to give it to Paradise Islands again. I told you, you guys probably heard it when I said I really, really like how this look turned out. It was something different for me, pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I like doing looks that are kind of like out of the box and more creative. It's just always fun. So anyways, Paradise Islands will continue on, so another upset here. Now we have the #5 ranked Haunted Europe palette, and then the #1 ranked Fête de Provence, putting the looks up again, just so you can see them as a reminder. And this one's a little bit easier, but I feel like I'm gonna go with the Fête de Provence look. I just really like the look with the gems, so that's what we're going to do. All right, the final showdown is between #6 Paradise Islands and #1 Fête de Provence. Here are the looks again, although you probably have them memorized at this point. The really colorful bright look that has a really fun shape, or the more like subtle but still festival fun look that's all matte, except for I think I did put my highlighter in the inner corner, I should say that. And then the gems. One's like very in your face colorful, and the other is very like soft colorful, but both I feel like are pretty creative, like different looks for me, not something I normally go for. So I think that's why I like both of them so much. I just feel like there's one that really has like a pow in your face, like power to it, and it's gonna be the Paradise Islands look. So that's gonna be our winner, is #6 Paradise Islands. I will say, if I were to re-rank my palettes now, I would probably feel comfortable putting the Verona Amore y Morte palette in the #1 spot. That is definitely my favorite Nomad palette. It has usurped Miss Fête de Provence as I've continued to use it. Like I said, I did declutter Orient Express and Whistler Snow Lodge, just held on to them for the sake of this video, but those were the two at the bottom, so I'd probably still rank them at the bottom. And then honestly, everything in the middle could probably be interchanged on any given day. I think doing this, I would want to put America's Parks higher. I would probably want to move some of the other palettes a little bit lower, or just like reshuffle them. So I like all those palettes in between. Nomad Cosmetics is a great brand. Love their matte formula, love their shimmer formula. So yeah, just wanted to share that with all of you. They do have a new palette that's come out since I started this. That is their Royal Europe palette. So I was gifted that in PR from them, and I'm super thankful for it. But in case you're, while we're talking about Nomad, might as well show it to you. Here it is, if you've never seen it. Has 5 multi-chromes on the bottom and then these 10 mattes up top. It is a gorgeous jewel toned color story. But yeah, that's really all I had today. So let me know which look was your favorite. Was the number 1 look your favorite look, or did you have another look that you were rooting for to win during this? Anyways, that's all from me. I will see you all next time. Bye!